In Houston, there has been an ongoing battle for an existing anti-discrimination ordinance. Apparently a year ago, the city council had passed a measure. I guess it was basically in May. It was an anti-discrimination ordinance that basically said you could not have bias in housing, employment, city contracting, and business services for 15 protected classes, including race, age, sexual orientation, and gender identity. I imagine religion's in there, a couple others. Apparently, after the city council passed it in May, it was involved in a lengthy court fight. It put the matter to referendum. Opponents said the measure would allow men claiming to be women to enter women's bathrooms and presumably inflict harm. Now, I found one case in Canada a couple of years ago where a guy claimed to be a transgender woman and had gone into bathrooms and had serially molested women and I think a minor in the bathroom. But there's also tens of thousands, probably hundreds of thousands, maybe millions of cases of fake transgender women molesting other women and children. And so the idea that this is actually sort of something that this ordinance could have turned on is just bizarre, but for the fact that this is Houston. So sadly, the bigotry won out in Houston. It was a pretty acrimonious fight. And I don't know what happens next. It was the Houston Equal Rights Ordinance, and it failed. Opponents of the measure claimed that the ordinance had nothing to do with discrimination and was about the mayor's gay agenda being forced on the city. Apparently, the mayor is the largest. She is Houston is the largest city in the United States to elect an openly gay mayor back in 2009 when she won. Apparently, she's been very slow in pushing that gay agenda. I don't know what's going on. Maybe is that why everybody in Houston wears cowboy hats, because the gay agenda has been successful?
How dare you?
Is that what the cowboy hats is about?
Oh,
I was wondering
mocking
about
our
that.
heritage, Sam. It's disgusting. But that's what it always is. I mean, this is Chris Christie didn't say exactly the same thing, but when he refused to revise, I think it was driver licenses laws to reflect transgender people, he talked about random anecdotes. Or Mike Huckabee made that ridiculous comment a couple of months ago about, well, what's going to happen is that boys are just going to go into girls' locker rooms because they want to, and they're going to say they're women in order to do it. And that's how they make policy. They make policy off of anecdote and bigotry.
It really is amazing, just sort of like you compare this to the argument 10 years ago that, well, you can't have the military. You can have gays in the military because they'll be in the same shower.
Right.
Apparently, the idea is that men are all pathological, and if they're gay or they're straight, they're and the only time this molestation happens is when it involves actually non-discrimination against someone because of their sexual orientation or because of their sexual identity, their gender identity. Apparently, this doesn't happen at any other time. I mean,
no, in fact, besides that, it's actually vastly exaggerated and mostly a lie.
And yes, and we should also say, maybe it's time to outlaw priests, right? I mean, honestly, if that's what we're really concerned about, why are we messing around and fiddling at the edges over this stuff?
Well, fiddling at the edges is what we don't want.
Exactly.
Yeah. God, Sam. Stay on point.